Come down this road with me.
Everybody, welcome to the Speak Project. This is Speak Up with Tank. I'm your host, Stephen Rowe, also known more commonly as Tank. And I just want to check, Gunnar, are you in the house right now? Can you
Yes.
be able to talk?
Yes, I'm
Wonderful.
in the kitchen.
All right, good. I'm glad to hear. Glad to hear you're on point. That's good. So, Gunnar, we've got some. Had a pretty good show last night. You know, talked to the Archbishop there. Actually, yeah. No, sorry, talked to Lawrence Barlow last night. And I thought he did really an amazing job sharing of himself and his testimony through his life. And now working as a city councilman, you know, to be freed from a cult to become a councilman, I think is pretty impressive. What do you think?
Yes. It was very interesting listening to him. He, you know, had a lot of new information that I didn't know about. I know where Short Creek, Utah is, but I've never actually been there before. Anyways, I had no idea all that stuff was going on there. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job. You know, he's got some great ideas too. You know, I love the simplicity of his technology he was describing. You know, because that's why I think a lot of, you know, the best things are invented, right? You just got to figure out how to use what you already have.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so Gunnar, I know this is a hot button for you. This is something that's important to you. This the D-class happening with President Trump, and President Trump finally ordering Attorney General Barr to release the declassified documents from the Obama era, basically revealing information that was kept quiet by the FBI until now. That reveals, well, we expect it to reveal. We know on some level that it reveals the actual, you know, very sensitive information as to how then candidate Trump was illegally being monitored. And this is supposed to be the Q movement is all about this, right? This is the big drop, you know, they've been waiting for, and you can see it's blowing up everywhere. You know, what do you think? Did you get a chance to look at it yet?
What are you talking about? The document?
Well, yeah, but I mean, did you get a chance to look at any of the articles and the response?
Yeah. Yes, I'm very excited. I've been waiting for this to happen for a long time. I've actually been watching Sean Hannity quite closely lately because he's been talking a lot about it. And I've been impressed with Hannity. He's actually been using the word deep state, which nobody else in the mainstream media dares even say that word, you know. Let's see. He had a guest on last night or two ago. You know, I can't remember who it was now, that was saying that, these documents, even the FISA is literally days away from being declassified. I mean, you know, he says, we're not talking about weeks, we're talking about days away, and it's going to all be declassified. And a lot of the Democrats, you know, just don't know what to do about it. I think that they are going. I think they're scared, to tell you the truth. They know that there's going to be a lot of dirt come out on them, and they're fighting for their life. You know, but they can't stop it. You know, and you saw how. Today, how what's that guy's name? The congressman that fainted. Nadler. Did you see that video of him fainting, Gerald Nadler?
No, that happened today.
Yeah, it did. It was let's see, I've got the article right here. he just a second, it's coming up. He was in New York City, doing a press conference with press conference alongside Mayor Bill de Blasio, and he just faded off, and it didn't come back. Well, eventually he did, but
so funny.
Yeah, and of course, the mainstream media is saying of course it's just that he was dehydrated and that his blood sugar level was really low. But now you've got Jerry Nadler that this is happening to. You got Nancy Pelosi that's slurring her words and can't put two words together at all. And the mainstream media is just saying, oh, they're just exhausted. They're just tired.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious that Nancy Pelosi was at such a loss for words. She started stuttering through something, and she started out with she had 10 things. Then she said, "There's 3 things." She said to remember, and then she said, and then she went on to continue talking. She said, I really think there's something wrong with President Trump, and President Trump was really wise in this way, right? He tweeted out before anything even happened, right? He said, I went into the meeting. It was a 5-minute meeting for a $2 trillion budget for infrastructure, right? He walked into the meeting. He said, I was very calm. I was very polite because they always make a scene. And then I saw Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she looked like an insane, just a lunatic, just babbling. And she started pounding on the table. She goes, and he pounded on this, and obviously lying. And she felt so uncomfortable about it because she's like, how much am I going to get caught blatantly in a lie again, right? Trying to portray Trump as just this savage who's, throwing temper tantrums. If you are actively pursuing a 4th investigation, wasting taxpayers' money, and you have been at the head approving, I forget the exact number, but I want to say it's, in the hundreds of millions of dollars of funding to go out for Planned Parenthood, right? Because that's the big thing. They want to support Planned Parenthood, right? The only bill that they've, passed in Congress is the bill to basically, actually what they've done is the number now is 50 times that the Republicans have brought the Born Alive bill. They brought it up, and they petitioned Congress, and Congress hasn't even considered it, right? They haven't even considered a bill that protects infants that are born alive from abortion, right? So imagine we're in a place where this to me will, I can't help but be obsessed with this, that we're actually endorsing a child being born alive after we try. I mean, it already has had a traumatic experience, right, when you tried to abort it, right? So the baby survives this somehow, and when it survives it, it's alive, it's separate from the mother, it's breathing, and they're not going to allow people to provide the doctors to provide life-saving measures to save the baby. What kind of a place do we live in? But that's even possible.
I agree.
It's just it's amazing to me. But I will
I
say my personal stance on it is that one, that will pass eventually because it's not constitutional, right? The Constitution recognizes that life. And Cornell law defines this very clearly, that if a human being exists separately from the mother, right, and no longer is cut from the umbilical cord, no matter what the means of birth, meaning whether they are born naturally or whether they are born, by cesarean or whether they are born by surviving an abortion. All of these ways, that is a life, that is a human being that is recognized as an American citizen. It has all the rights to other American citizens, and in fact, it deserves more attention than the typical American citizen because it cannot speak up for itself. So therefore, we have an obligation, not just as Americans, but as humans, to take care of that baby. And if you do not take care of that baby, you are not human. See, all humans are given a natural instinct called philoprogenitiveness. It means the natural love for your offspring. Now, if you do not have a natural love for your offspring, you are not human. Because in reality, a baby, if you were to look at it from a survivalist standpoint, right, where you're going to carry around this child, and you're, in the jungle or whatever, right, sneaking up on prey. Well, the baby could cry. The baby requires your constant attention. All of these things would mean, like, you don't need the baby, really. I mean, for you to survive, you don't need the baby, right? So, but that's how animals think. But as a human, it's natural for us to take care of that baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's going on. Now, the debauchery or the debacle that is California right now is currently teaching preschoolers about bondage, about fluid exchange, which has to do with blood and some other crazy nonsense like that. It has to do. They're also teaching about, anal sex, what a transvestite is, right? And the claim of these people is that this is a civil rights thing. Right now, first of all, there are certain things you just don't need to share with the world. It's just not something you put out publicly, right? And some things definitely should never be shared with a child. Now, they're not even getting permission from the parents to talk about these things. They're just bringing them up. So you're giving a child a very perverse, corrupted view of intimacy, right, at a very young age. And they're teaching pedophilia as a normal sexual practice, right? So they're just trying to justify anything in the ways they want to do things, right? That's a terrifying state to me. Now, I know your daughter's older now, but my daughter's she's just going into first grade next year, right? She's just in kindergarten now. Now, I would lose my mind if I found out that they were talking to my daughter about such things, right?
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen with that? I mean, because California is like, the head of the, deep state right now, right? They're leading the charge in all things evil.
Yeah, right. Well, yes, it really does anger me that they're trying to pass off pedophilia as they're actually calling it a sexual orientation, and
right.
and it's okay, to abuse young kids because just because you have an urge for it, so that I guess that makes it okay, I mean, I guess I would argue that it's not okay because, of course, it's not consensual sex. I mean, if anybody that has sex, any adult that has sex, whether they're of the same sex or not, I don't give a shit as long as it's consensual. But when it comes to a child, I'm sorry. That's just not consensual sex. Most kids don't even know what it is. It's abuse, is what it is. It's sexual abuse, and
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Now, Gunnar, they're building something here, right? Like you can sense it. So I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. I'm going to tell everybody what they're building for. So this is the depopulation agenda, right, at its finest, right? This is what they've always built up to do, is to basically chemically castrate humanity, because they are actually doing that, right? They're putting, Bill Gates Foundation was just outed because they were issuing free vaccines that were chemically castrating men and women of childbearing ages, right? Now, they're doing that because Bill Gates has been very open about traveling around and saying that that we need to reduce the population because of the myth that we're overpopulated. And the reality is, you could take every single human being on the planet, you could give them 1,000 square feet of space of their own, and put every single person on the planet in the state of Texas. You can drive from New York to California, and you don't have to talk to a single person, because there's literally, you can stop at gas stations, use your credit card, never talk to a person, might not even see a person if you really, took the right path. That's how ridiculous it is, and they're saying that we're overpopulated. In the same vein, I spoke to some lovely people today who had really done these amazing things with different methods of recycling and things of that nature, right? But I really felt it necessary to clarify because they started saying, well, now the climate crisis, and I immediately could tell. Now they were from California, right? And I immediately talked to them about this. I said, listen, the so-called climate crisis, if there is a climate crisis, it's much like the constitutional crisis that we're suffering. It's not what people think. There is not global warming right now. There is not global warming. And in fact, we are actually going into a solar minimum, which means the winters are going to be colder, right? Now, that means we should really be developing technology we already have. We should be producing it so that we can have a longer growing season but the myth that there's global warming, right? Now that's part of not only that, but it's global warming due to carbon emissions, right? Now here is the symbiotic relationship of the entire planet. Humans give out carbon dioxide, and trees, they consume carbon dioxide. Trees give out oxygen, and humans consume oxygen. This is the very nature of everything on our planet, and the planet maintains homeostasis based on this relationship. There is absolutely not, it is not because of carbon dioxide that we have global warming. There is global warming in part, if at all, because they are spraying chemical trails in the air to create a barrier that is trapping the rays of the sun in. That's possible, despite the way they portray it. But even that, I don't think is really an issue because these things clear up almost instantly, right? After September 11th in New York City, they stopped allowing planes to fly for about 2 weeks. After 3 days, the skies in New York City were crystal clear, right? The air quality immediately improved, right? Because they stopped allowing planes to go by, right? Now, there's still toxins in the air from the towers falling, but the point is that the planet is strong enough to clean itself up if we would just do the right things. So if we would stop allowing these criminals to poison the water with fluoride and chlorine, which we know is a natural carcinogen, which is also shortening the telomeres, which ultimately shortens the life of every human being who drinks water, which is every human being, right? And we're all affected by it because it's not just if you drink it. It's also if you take a shower. You're surrounded in a steam, cloudy mist of toxins. Now, that's part of the depopulation agenda. Now, I'm going to read this, too, because there's all these controversies about vaccines, right? And people keep saying that it's crazy that you wouldn't want a vaccine, right? So WI38 is the cell lines from a female aborted fetus. Now, this goes back to how these things are all connected. Now, this is used to cultivate viruses used in vaccines. When you inject the DNA from a female carrying 2 X chromosomes into a male who already carries 1 X chromosome and a weaker Y chromosome, you now have an overload of the X chromosome. Now, we have an onslaught of boys who think they should be girls. Now, this is why you have this gender dysphoria taking place with this group of teenagers, right? And they are not sure what their sexual orientation is because it's been planted in them, an excess of hormones from the opposite sex. And the same holds true for the girls as well. They're doing the same thing. So imagine these are vaccines that they've made mandatory that we know ultimately lead to expensive medical treatments when people are trying to do gender reassignment, right? And now they're trying to impose this idea of you need to know what your gender is, on these kids, which is just ridiculous. You know what? Every child, below like 15 or 13, I guess, they don't know. They don't care what their gender is. They're not pursuing a relationship, or they shouldn't be. And if they are, it's because you're a lousy parent. Right? There's no way that should be happening right now. There's no way we should be allowing that to take place. This is creating confusion, but again, it goes back. You have to know the ultimate purpose, and the ultimate purpose is to reduce the reproduction of human beings. They want us to reproduce less, so they're trying to chemically castrate us. They're trying to cause us to be confused about our gender orientation, our sexual preference, all these things. That's what they're doing. And then they're trying to make really perverted, awful things about sex normal, probably in the long run, not to continue that practice, because I think even they would recognize it as being wrong at some point. But I think in part it's to make sex something that is evil, is what they're trying to do, so that we don't try to, reproduce. And then they can control reproduction through, hospitals and, test tubes and things like that.
Yes, that's I saw that image today. And I actually did put that on ProjectSpeak.net. That is very fascinating. It really is. That definitely is a possibility. I haven't really heard much about it. But however, I do have to. Whether you agree whether you believe in global warming or not, I do agree with you that that the Earth is able to maintain and sustain the population that is here, and probably even more. That global warming, whether it's real or not, it is not an excuse for decreasing the population or trying to kill everybody off. Anyways,
Pretty much nothing is.
Right. Right. Yes. Exactly. Yes. Definitely. I agree. I mean, the Earth has the ability to sustain the population that's here. I mean, I do agree with cleaning up the planet and like,
right.
Getting rid of, for example, the tons and tons of plastic that's floating around in the ocean, for example, why don't we get rid of the amount of plastic we produce instead of getting rid of the people that use the plastic?
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine how simple that would be? We could just go back to the old days where we got milk on the front porch and then we just took that bottle and refilled it. I mean, it's so simple. It's so simple.
Right.
The solutions are right in front of us, and that's why in my opinion, well, no, not in my opinion, this is a fact. I've seen the agenda. They specifically are trying to kill us. And I think it's really important that people wake up to that fact, because when you realize that not many people would connect vaccines with global warming, right? We're not going to put those two things together, but they're connected because it's all part of the same agenda.
Right.
And that's the reality of where we're at. And this is not speculation. There is 32,000 scientists, environmental scientists, who have all conducted their own studies, and they have all stood up and said the data that is being presented is false. The UN itself says there is no correlation between overpopulation and global warming. And the original group that presented the information to the EPA, when the data came out, they gave it to the EPA and they put it through something. And when they presented the data, they completely manipulated the data. So that's the start of everything, where all the original data was manipulated right from the beginning. And that was many scientists, a part of that original group, have confessed to that same thing. So it's not speculation. It's just fact. And that's the thing I think we got to get away from. It's like, oh, yeah, that could be true. No, not that it could be true. That is what it is, right? Because even the information that, we have access to because of Kim, I can tell you for an absolute fact that what I'm sharing is not intel. This is the truth. There is an agenda to eliminate 90% of the population, and that is the real global reset. It is written in stone, literally. You can go check the Georgia Guidestones, and you will see that. And if you do a little more digging, you'll find out that there was a plan, because there was a compartment in the Georgia Guidestones that explained how to do that using cancer right? Making cancer an incurable disease, right? Because you're not even allowed to cure cancer in the United States. How they would use vaccines and biological warfare to slowly eliminate the population. That's why knuckleheads like Alexandria Cortez will come out and say, we only have until 2030 or we'll all be dead. Well, she's kind of right. But it won't be because of global warming. It'll be because you didn't go along with the agenda, right? So if we go along with the agenda that everyone's been trying to push on us, they would eliminate 90% of the population. That is why that's the real reason. They were trying to give her the inside scoop, but she was just too dim to catch on to what they were saying.
And she's one of the 10% that will remain. So I guess it's okay with her.
Well, that's what they all think. Actually, they would all get killed as well. All the people who think they're in the know, everybody out there, every agency, everybody cooperating with their genocide agenda, believe me, you will definitely die. Matter of fact, they actually have made decisions to place you, according to the Illuminati handbook, that they would move you to a place like Antarctica where you wouldn't bother anybody, and then they would just kill you off. That's their agenda. So if you think you're going to be living in Hawaii, living fat, you're wrong. Tonight we are going to interview the one and only. Oh no, I think I just lost him.
Oh shoot! Yes, he was connected before.
That's okay.
We'll wait a few minutes and see if he can come back.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, listen, we got a couple callers. Listen, if you guys actually want to talk, that's great. I'm going to bring you on. And so I'm going to bring on 818 right now. So turn down your computer. Just listen to your phone. And I'm going to bring you in right now. Let's see if you're there. 818, are you there? No, 818 is gone. See, I think 314 is actually one of our people. Let's see if this is 314, are you there? Hi, who's this?
Hey, Tank, it's Leanne.
Hey, Leanne. Are you just hanging out?
How are you? I know you are good. I do have a comment on what you were just speaking to about abortion, because Missouri just passed a really strict abortion law. And there was a little bit of talk on the post about it, and this lady was like, you mind your business because it's my kid and I'll take care of it. When we stop killing kids in school, then I'll worry about the other ones. And I said, well, who stands up for the rights of the babies being killed, murdered through abortion? Because at this rate, we won't have any kids being, in the school being killed, kind of thing. Like, we won't have any students because the depopulation. And she just could not get it. I just posted our talk tonight.
That's a tough one, the depth of the ignorance is really it's heavy in my opinion. This is not a feminist decision. This is not a feminist movement type of thing, for the record. Because in reality, if you really can wrap your mind around this is not empowering women, which is what the alleged feminist movement is about, right? If you were empowering women, you would be giving them the opportunity to be women, right? To actually be in tune and magnify the qualities that are naturally and innately part of being feminine, right? The natural beauty, the natural nurturing qualities, the subtle qualities that men don't always have, right? Now, I know people love to jump down your throat about that. Like, how do you know what men are like and women are like? Because I'm a man, right? And I know that, being an alpha male now is like labeled as the toxic disease and how dangerous it is by the, ridiculous methodology of the deep state who's trying to shame us all. And, now I have to be ashamed for being a guy, right? Because God forbid I'm a guy, right? And they're trying to make that negative. But they've done the same thing. They've done the reverse to women, right? So when women want to excel into a company, right, they want to be a CEO or something, you'll notice that all the qualities about them that are feminine are usually gone almost right away. They talk like men. They act like men. They dress like men, right? These are the things that people think this is what it means to be a leader. But that's just not true. That's not what it means to be a leader, right? There is qualities and power that women have just being women that is equal, if not greater than any man I've ever met. Because women have the ability to persuade an entire room just with a few selective words and a soft-spoken voice. Kindness goes a long way, and there is a quality about women that is powerful all by itself. So I believe in empowering women. What I don't believe in is empowering women by making them act like men. And I don't believe in denigrating men by making them act more feminine, right? But that is the movement,
Right.
so everybody is clear. And after a while, you can see why there would be gender confusion, right? Because women, for the most part, right, except for anomalies here and there, are attracted to men that are men. And men are attracted to women that are women, right? But you can see how there'd be some kind of confusion, right? Because you're not sure who's who anymore, and that's kind of a tragedy that I see happening all over the place, and it's unfortunate.
It is very.
But
That's all I
it is
got.
very.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, bye, Liam.
It looks like
Did we get
Tui's
Tui
back on. Yeah. Do you want me to see if I can bring him on?
Please bring him on.
Hello, Tui. Are you there?
Yes, indeed. I'm here.
Oh, wonderful.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ratu Tui Lomaloma from Fiji. He is a dear friend and advocate for humanity. He is the counterpart to the spiritual side of the movement to liberate humanity, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself. So, Tui, how are you doing, man? Thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate it. I'm excited for the world to kind of hear about you and know who you are.
Hey, Tank. First of all, I just want to thank you guys. Thank your team, the Speak Project team. Thank you so much for this opportunity to allow me to actually speak on behalf of the people and on behalf of my tribes here in Fiji and in the rest of our tribes here in the Pacific, and all the native tribes out there that will be also involved in this great change that is it's happening on the planet. And for me, my name is Tui Lomaloma. I'm 33 years old in Fiji. I was born in a family that resembles what you call the Rasau or the Sau. This simply means firstborn in my language, and it was a gift that I've been given or I've been appointed in spiritually to actually be part of this big change and to help in any way that I can, whether it's going to be talking or whether it's going to be however it's going to be the involvement. That's the role that I'll be playing, and not just me, but the people here in Fiji. And so I'm very thankful for the chance. Thank you, Ghana. Thank you, Lane. Thank you so much, everyone that in the team. And I'm looking forward to talk about some of the things that we're going to be discussing tonight about that agreement. Thank you so much.
Let's talk about that. So I think it's important to start with the agreement that you're about to go into. So in this moment in history, we're in this incredible transformation to basically liberate humanity. And one of the hardest challenges is that people don't realize that they're enslaved or they're being diminished or they don't really have an accurate history to even draw on to know who they are. And that's one of the things I've appreciated in getting to know you is that you're very much about speaking to sovereignty and exactly who people are, and trying to get them to see that more clearly, right? Now, so what is the agreement that essentially kind of, I know there's the Zara agreement, but there's other agreements along the way that have basically enslaved us, right? So speak to that because that is a really powerful part of your testimony.
All right, thank you. It has to do. I guess I'll start with the simple foundation of what that word simply means in English, or what the word sovereignty simply means. The power that is within every living thing to actually create an illusion, or to think, or to create an idea and to value. This is what we call in our language the Manna, which is which we are the source of, not just human beings, but also every living things on the land and in the sea. And the awareness of this and the power to be to be that essence, or to be the fulfillment of the Manna, has been taken away from awareness for a very long time. This is part of an original agreement, to separate the Manna from the person. And even though it's still within everyone, the agreement is just for people to forget that for a couple of thousands of years, and try and remember it again. And this is what it means to be sovereign. To be sovereign is to have the ability to create anything from thought within you, and then with faith and with love for that what you have created, to be able to manifest and make it make it real, or make it manifest into reality. And so whatever thoughts or whatever creation that you've created, or whatever you have in your life, or whatever you've owned, whether it's your name, or whatever illusion that your physical body has provided and given you, with the love that is also within you, you're able to create that and make it real. To be able to believe that that is you, or that is an agreement that you have created. And so this requires a lot of energy from within, which is what you call the Manna. And for thousands of years, what the word sovereignty simply means is to be able to do that, to be able to be creator, just like in Christianity, people will be taught that they are sons and daughters of a living creator or living God. That's just simply you are expressing that creativity, or that power. It's magic, because without any connection to what you created, you can make it real. You can have a telephone, or you can have a phone, or you can have a computer, you can have a car. You're not connected to it. Just by the spirit within you, you're able to believe that it is yours, and it becomes true. And this is how everything on the planet is, out of that simple nothingness of a thought. We're able to choose, and we're able to create things from that power that is within us. And that innate ability is what you call in my language is a Manna. And the Manna, it's just because it's simply everyone can actually create that, and also we can also create ourselves to forget that we are creators. And so we've forgotten that we are the Manna for a very long time. And so it allows us to make all the creation that we've created being so real, and we get lost in those creations. So simply we create an illusion like a room, like a prison, and then we put ourselves in it, and then we forget that the room exists. And we for thousands of years trying to realize that we are the creator of that room. And we can just if we can just stand up and walk out of the room, we can do it so easily, because it's all our creation, it's all in our mind, and it's all in our thoughts. And so the return of sovereignty that is part of the Zara agreement is simply just that. Simply every living thing, or every human being on the planet in physical body, just realizing that all the illusions they've created for these past thousands of years is just that. It's their own illusion. It's a gift. It's not supposed to be, even though we have all these different ones, all the different indoctrination and all different belief systems, and that's all our gifts and our creation. And so it's just time now that we have to remember that we are the one creating it, and we have to realize that all the separation that we have, we did with the planet, we create all the separation, all the different countries and all the different agreements, the banking system and all this separation that we've all created together. We have to come to realize that we are the one that created it, and we are the source of that illusion. And it's now we just have to wake up and reconnect ourselves to the Manna within us, and all this illusion will just break itself down, and we'll truly be free once more. And because it's just us that we are ourselves, no one else. And so this agreement is called the Zara.
Wait. So before you move on, I want to recap to make sure that's very clear what you just said, because it's a really powerful thing you just described. And I've actually never heard you go into it quite in that much detail. So the Manna, or what many of us might call the life force energy, or the essence of who we are, the spirit, the unseen aspect of our true nature, it's our awareness of that and realizing that we are creating the reality that we live in currently, that we ourselves created this like a room and put ourselves in it and forgot and got wrapped up in our own limitations that we put on ourselves. And we are all now in a stage where we're transitioning and remembering that we are the creators, because like you referenced the Bible where it says you're made in the likeness and image of your creator, meaning that we have the same natural powers and abilities, and natural same spirit as God, as a creator, and that we are creating this reality even now, and we're all waking up to realize that we can create any reality we want. And I just want to make sure that encapsulates at least some of what you're saying, right?
Indeed.
Okay. All right, now go ahead and go on into the Zara
yes,
agreement.
So the Zara agreement is part of it's like a key to unlock that awareness, and it's in the DNA agreement that was part of the forgetting and remembering, and to be able to return sovereignty to the people. It's not coming from outside. The sovereignty will be remembered within. Like people will start to realize that, and together with all the experiences that's happening on the planet, we will begin to realize that we create and we forget, and now we are remembering it again. So the Zara agreement is part of that sovereignty. And so as part of it, because there's a lot of things that cannot be put into words, because the language is totally different from the physical talking language or the physical communication language. It is the language is within everyone, and but if they can hear what we're talking about, they will realize that that's how their whole reality is, and that's how they are. And if they can hear and be reminded by just listening to us and listening to us discuss it, it will be, it will just be part of that expression of the Zara Confederacy Agreement. So to remember sovereignty and to be able to do it, our tribes here in the Pacific, in Fiji, especially now here in Fiji and the rest of the Pacific, was actually part of the agreement to actually not just remember, but remind the whole planet to be able to do it. So this is how I actually reached out to you and to the trust because of our agreement about the Manna. And we have been, in Fiji, we have been keeping it in our culture, and we've been living our life for all these thousands of years, following the law of sovereignty, which is the law of, you call in the Bible, the common law, or the 10 Commandments, or the law that, the greatest commandment that Jesus spoke about in the Gospel. He said, love God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. And that's just simply the remembrance of who you are, or the realization of the Manna. which is within you, and it has to be one with your body, and it means your awareness has to be one with the essence of the Manna within you. And then you realize, that the second commandment, he said, it's just like the first. You love your neighbor as you love yourself. Because when you fully understand the Manna within you and your creation, you will understand that your neighbor or the person or the animal or the whatever living creature that's outside of you, just like you, the all essence of the living creative force that is all through the universe and which is the universe. And so that law is what we call in Fijian the law of sovereignty. You realize it's a reminder to every awareness on the planet that they are sons and daughters of the living creative creator or the living God or whatever words that people, whatever language, whatever culture that language may, and whatever words that interpret God or the whole entire universe. It doesn't matter. If you look around you and you look within you, you are and you are in and you are around what you call the essence of the creative force or God. And so this realization, the experience that get people to remember it is called the Zara Confederacy Agreement. And so in the beginning, the Zara Confederacy Agreement was the separation between male and the female. And the unity between these two energies will get back that remembrance or the awareness of what it means to be sovereign, to be able to understand that you can own, you can create, and you can own what you've created, and you can live, and then you live in harmony with every other creators around you, and that's what the law of sovereignty simply means. So to be able to project this properly and physically in a in a physical reality where like we're living on Earth right now, this moment now, this realization, and to be able to express that essence of that Manna or what you call love towards everyone around you that's creating at the same moment and then try and live in harmony. So these thousands of years, the people have forgotten, and the separation has become so real, and there was so a lot of imbalances and a lot of trauma that the whole planet has gone through to be able to learn the lesson of separation. And now the lesson of remembrance and the lesson of unity is coming in, and the spiritual lesson of the what they call the Za Confederacy, which is the feminine part of what you call love and creator, or the creative energy, which is just love, and it's coming together, the awareness and the physical part of it as well. So it's just one and the same. It's there's a time of separation where the feminine spirit has been stamped on and suppressed, and now the feminine spirit, which is the Confederacy, to represent the Confederacy, is coming back, and that's how you'll see all the changes now on the planet and about love and about unity. People are before all these bad things that used to be done to all the sexual abuses that used to be done and used to be unknown. Now it's coming out. It's coming because of the feminine spirit that has to heal and recreate anew. And so, as part of the Confederacy Agreement, healing has taken place first because of the separation that and it has caused a lot of trauma in the last thousands of years that was agreed that has been brought into existence. And now that these few years we have to try and create healing. And first, that the feminine spirit has to be expressed. And that's why, I usually tell the chiefs that that's why right now the Manna World Holding Trust, which is, which has all the assets of the planet being binded to, now has a female, which is the Confederacy Agreement because of the feminine expression that has to be expressed out of love and no more separation. So the Ra Confederacy will represent the masculine aspect of the agreement, and will be the one going physically introducing the spiritual aspect of it. So from so if you look at it as a male, female, or feminine, masculine, the masculine aspect is the spiritual foundation, which is the awareness, the spiritual awareness within, which is an embody of. So I can speak it, and I'll be able to speak it, and people will be able to see it within themselves. And the feminine is the creative and the physical aspect of the creation, the essence and everything that represents your sovereignty. So together they will bring back the sovereignty completely of what it truly means to be sovereign, not just the meaning or just the word or just understanding who you are, or remembering who you are, but physically expressing it towards everything outside of you, with what you own, the land, the gold, or whatever you value, whatever you created to have value. This is, it simply embodies or totally embodies what it means for a physical or spiritual being, expressing their sovereignty through time as they agree through time. And so, like I said, it's quite hard to put it into words, but the experience as we go together through time, like you show, like the projects that are happening, this is all part of the Zara Confederation, and we were asked to come and do this and to be able to be here in this moment now. We came right from a very long time ahead in the future, and we've been given permission to go right back to the far past, and then to be to who we are and improve the DNA as we go through time and through the experience from one generation to another, thousands of generations. Now, finally, right at the right moment, we are coming up and we're speaking and talking about it so that the awareness can come swiftly and swiftly and in an accelerated manner. There's quite a lot of aspects that we should be able to talk about maybe later in the future, because it's a very wide, it has a very big picture in a sense. That talking about it is simply, it's going to take months to be able to talk about it. But just
Tui, wait, before you go any further, let me just, again, I mean, everything you just said, I think is really, it's powerful and needs to be repeated. I just want to summarize. So, Tui is referring to Kimberly Gogan, who is the trustee for the Manna World Holding Trust that she renamed the Manna World Holding Trust in 2012. And so she is only able to access that quantum system, which we refer to sometimes as natural intelligence instead of artificial intelligence. And it is, she actually, because she has 99.8% of the original mitochondrial Eve DNA. She's almost bioidentical. And in that, she represents the feminine energy. And what Tui's talking about is the Zara agreement, is that the masculine and feminine agreed to be separated. And Tui represents the masculine side of that energy. And bringing these back together, uniting these energies, however that's manifest, is symbolic, and but it's bigger than that, because it actually allows for freedom, right? For sovereignty, true sovereignty, where we're able to understand how to manifest things into reality, and realize and remember who we really are. And Tui, I gotta say, it stands to reason that the oppositional force, really focusing on doing away with everything that is masculine and feminine and creating this androgynous human that they're trying to make, which is neither male or female, it sounds like that's their counteractive measure to try to prevent humanity from being liberated. While, in some sense, they probably are justifying that it's the same. but just hearing you talk about it, it's like, they're still resisting. So let me ask you this, Tui. In this moment, Thomas was talking, Thomas Williams from the THI show was talking on Thursday night, last night. He was talking about how on Wednesday there was a frequency shift that the entire planet was going through. And what I feel and sense about this is that this is really the time when we are stepping into our liberated state. We're stepping into our sovereignty at this point. And it feels like all of the other pieces that would have to be manifest and reflect this are actually coming to pass finally. With you have all types of political things that are reflecting this, and the deep state or cabal or whatever appears to be falling apart. What is your sense of that, energetically? Because I know you have a much more, you're much more in touch and in tune with that intuitively. Do you feel like this is, we're in the now kind of a moment? Tui, did I lose you? Ratu? Okay. Gunnar, let me know when he comes back on. Gunnar, are you there? Oh, there's Tui. Tui.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Sorry. Yeah, I know. For some reason you got muted out. I'm not sure why. So I'm sorry. So yeah, I was asking about the energy. So we didn't hear your answer. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, the energy shift, and it's part of that. The problem is they're speaking about agreement in a way that people may think that it's written down in words, or it's a book, or it's an agreement. No, but it's deep inside the DNA, and that's it's part of the agreement that the Ra Confederacy had with the Ra Collective had with this planet. So all these energies that are changing, it's not a surprise, or it's not it's just the way it's supposed to happen. The planet is already ready to change. It's only just giving us chance, especially as the source of creation on the planet, as all these different agreements and different illusions that we created. It's just giving us chance to maybe reset it and reassemble the illusion and recreate new ones. But the changes is part of the total agreement, because I'm talking from one perspective, from my world, but it's all the different 8 billion people or 9 billion people on the planet doing the same, doing whatever they're doing every day, and whatever choices they make every day, and all the different living things on the planet. It's all working together, and so these changes is just a natural thing. It's already happening, and if people are so connected to the illusion, they won't be able to feel it. But if they are connected to the change and connected to their body, the body is can feel these change. There'll be people getting sick to try and remind them that they can to sit down and reconnect themselves to their body. Because the problem is, if your body is not ready for it, you might remove yourself from this agreement, and you'll come back in a time where you are ready for and you're ready for it. So there'll be a lot of different kind of ways that your body will take you through to be able to handle the changes. So as a part of that question, the change is a natural. It's not a surprise. It's part of the change already. As in now that we are talking about it on the show, that's why I'm very thankful. It's part of that agreement of the change of that. People might come and hear it from here, and they'll be remembered. And if that's why I'm looking forward to the project to be started. If the project starts and the funding comes in, boom, we're gonna balance. Balance the planet. Right now, the human beings are the one that's in balance. We have to balance the human part of the planet, which is the mental part of this earth. And we are not different from the earth. We are the earth, but we just create all these illusions within us, and we've lost our connection from it. And before this talk, before I came in, you guys were talking about climate change and all these all these other humanitarian ideas that have been used in a way that separate people from the planet, and that's very harmful, because people tend to believe that they are not the planet. They're just they're just on. It's like you are on an island, or you don't realize that you are the one creating the whole thing. And now they want to separate you from your essence. You can't separate people from the air. You can't separate them from the water. You can't separate yourself from the fire and from the land. You are the land. You are the air. You are the water. And so this is just a reminder of who you truly are, and don't be threatened by the environment around you. You're the one that's causing the environment to be in that state. And so you take the lesson, then you try and change. So that's why this project is very, very dear to not just me, but to the people here in Fiji, because it will give them the chance to express this in a way that people will never forget, and people will remember, not just around in the Pacific, but all around the world. It will make a lot of noise to remember people, and it won't be unknown anymore. It will go easy. We will have our own, our own product, the TV station and all that. We'll create it so that we'll make sure the Manna people have to remember that they are the creators. They are sovereign, and nothing should be sovereign in their life but the essence and the awareness within them. And to be able to be free and all that, no one is actually, there's no separation on the planet. There's no lack. There's no, all this is inside the mind. Is a creative illusion that people have created within them. And if they want to be free from it, they'll have to free themselves and realize that they are the one, they are the one that creates this room, this box. And they will have to, and the box is within their mind. It's not outside. You'll never see the different countries. You'll never see the different political system, the religion. You'll never see all this outside of you. But it's all within the mind and the hearts of people. So this has to be cleansed. This has to be changed. This has to be healed. There's a lot of trauma that's already happened because of that. And as that realization comes in, the planet, the energy of the planet naturally changes. It will just adapt to whatever we are doing, and it will help us, and will help the planet. And and we will grow together and recreate a new future together. And so, looking at it from a scientific kind of way, and people are surprised that these things have changed. It's not supposed to be a surprise. It's it's part of the agreement. It's part of this change, and so we are just in that time. And no one, no matter how much they will try, they will change also. So those people that you might call the people that maybe in the negative, or they're just a little slower. We will all wait for them to come up and realize that their creation is all just that, their creation, the gift, and they'll be able to change as well. And whatever, however long they will learn that lesson, some of us that will take a lead will shine that light and shine it bright, so that they can can lead the way, and we look back and shine the light towards their their path, so that they can be able to see clearly as well. And like you said, waiting is it's not going to happen. We won't be waiting, because we will move forward, and we will shine the light in ahead. Ahead in wherever or whatever level of awareness that we are, and we will make sure that it doesn't hurt the people that are still behind, and we don't overwhelm them with a lot of information where it's more harmful to them than more help. And so we'll just share the light, be an example, and we'll be able to we'll see how they learn from it, and how much time will they take them to understand and learn from it. So the changes, the electromagnetic spectrum, or the electromagnetic resonance of the planet is going to change over and over. It's going to grow much more until until we all become what we are supposed to be, and that is that we are creators, and then we'll be able to recreate the whole entire new future together. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that question. I know I didn't listen to what Thomas discussed on it. I haven't gone through the show. I guess that this was just yesterday on Thursday.
Yeah, I can give you an update to it if you want, real quick, if that'll help you.
Oh yes, please.
Because I think it was kind of important. So basically, the secret space program attempted to drill into the 7th level in New Zealand, right, which they're only allowed into the 6th level. And this was an attempt to access galactic technology from an area they are restricted from, in an ongoing attempt to access the funds held in Manna World Holding Trust. And as usual, in a panic to somehow magically maintain control of the world, the major world banks again attempted to hack the trust Thursday morning. And these attempts failed, as usual, to even break through the first firewall of the trust again. The banks and secret space programs no longer have access to the financial system to even see or hear what is going on. Their eyes and ears have been completely removed. They can no longer tell what's happening anywhere. The RV, the revaluation of the currency, didn't happen because that is a global reset of the human population, and that sets off a trigger that launches a series of catastrophic events which lead to genocide for 90% of the population, and that will not be allowed to happen by the trustee. So Thomas reported a significant shift in the planet's frequency, and that was implemented on the 23rd, on Wednesday, and that should change the vibration of the entire planet and ultimately help us in what we're trying to accomplish. And all parties involved in the continued crimes against humanity being committed against the people of Earth, refusing to allow liberation of humanity to move forward, will be held accountable at the highest level. That being said, Steve Mnuchin is Kim conducted an audit, and in that audit, the trust audited all of the major world banks, and on the private banking level, they were all informed that was coming. After the audit concluded, there was enough evidence gathered against Steve Mnuchin that evidence has been submitted with accusations and charges of treason being levied against him. He is supposed to be removed. He refuses to step down as the Secretary of the Treasury, even though he's been fired 3 times, because he says that he was appointed by the Rothschild and not by Trump's cabinet. And because of that, he continues to try to hold his ground. However, he has absolutely no power to do anything, but the Rothschilds still believe that they hold some sub-sovereign level of authority over the governments, which would go back to, I guess, draconian law. And the only information that has been released anywhere that can be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt is what the Manna World Holding Trust has put out. The Manna World Holding Trust has clearance it has the highest clearance on the planet. We have confirmed that personally with Homeland Security, the U.S. Treasury, the Bank of London, the BIS, every single intelligence agency on the planet, every single treasury on the planet, and every single government on the planet. For them to continue to resist what the trust is doing, can do, and has the ability to do for the people demonstrates clearly that they are committed to their genocidal agenda at our expense. And part of that is their complete and absolute ignorance and cluelessness that the global warming agenda and the overpopulation is all part of the same nonsensical theme. And I think that's all the pieces that we need to know. Yep. That's kind of the update from yesterday. Yeah. So Thomas was, when Thomas can get a little dark with things sometimes, because there's so much, these, and rightfully so. I mean, it's very frustrating that these things are very easy to fix. They're not even hard. I mean, we can tomorrow change the frequency of the whole planet just by ceasing to put fluoride in the water and allowing people to start to, just their frequency to increase. We can change everything very easily. We could stop poisoning and trying to kill off our people and stop, poisoning our children. And, they just released something to you with this, the FDA just released this. It looks like a injection tool from the future for parents to use on their kids who have ADHD. That if they get out of control, they can just like pop them and tranquilize them, which is ridiculous because ADHD is not really a disease, right? It's really just those kids are so open to the other frequencies that, you know, they're learning to adjust to them. And so they call it a hyperactive disorder because they're trying to train our kids to sit in classes and enter information into databases like zombies.
Yeah.
So, but I you know, Tui, I was looking at the, you know, the political scenery, right? And it's really an amazing time. You know, Theresa May just stepped down, the Prime Minister for the United Kingdom, and that all by itself is absolutely amazing. You know, I mean, she is very deep in the bloodline families. That is definitely an act of surrender, in my opinion. So I just feel like at this point there is very notable things taking place that reflect that we are really have broken through on a global level, because none of these countries have money to survive. And that being said, what's going on in Fiji right now?
In Fiji, we've been discussing for the past how many days on the TANK Tui as the changes is happening. We're almost talking and almost doing updates every day because that is simply, you know, in Fiji, the chiefs here, we have a legend that we have in Fiji that we believe that the whole entire Fiji and the Fiji Islands is a shadow of what's happening on the planet. And every single probability that has been happening for the past thousands of years is all written on the land, on the minds of the people of Fiji. And so from the beginning where separation happened to this moment right now that we are doing, that the unity is getting back together and realizing family of humanity. And the beginning of this new creation as it begins, it's all written on the land, and even different probabilities also is also written on the land, and it totally depends on the choices and the experience and choices of this experience that the people of the world will do. And so whatever choice they make, the probability is already existing. And that's what's written on this land indeed. And there's a lot of things that people will be able to come and learn. I know there was once in the beginning when we started out, I just want to just re-mention it. There's an agreement about time that Fiji has, and it's the reason why, you know, all the time that's happening on the planet, or all the agreement of time within your DNA, has an agreement where that this island Fiji has the beginning of time. And if you see Fiji also in a three-dimensional, you know, from a top or view perspective, for like you know, from the top, you'll be able to see the spiral that Fiji form as islands. It all spiral up, and then it grows, and then it forms all these different land masses. Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, the Asian, then it comes right around the planet. And we believe that everything starts here in Fiji. That's the land, the sea, the water, the air, the fire. Those six elements, they begin here. And then when they come, and these going out, separating, and then coming back is part of the Ra Confederacy Agreement. So in that spiral, that if you look from the map of our country, the spiral, the middle, right, the point where the spiral starts is called Ra. It's part of that's the name of that land, and there are people of Ra that live in Ra, and there's one small island outside of that part, and it's called Levuka, and that's the center of these spiral that begins and then spirals out to the rest of the world, and also time starts in that manner as well. And so these three-dimensional agreement, you know, that's why it's not a coincidence I'm speaking and I'm talking about it now. This beginning of this new change, and the beginning of this new cycle of creation that we are doing as a collective, humanity as a collective. And so in Fiji right now, what the current situation politically, and the people and all this is also the reflection of the whole entire planet. And right now, the creation of the economy, money, and all this, the interdependence of money. We can see that also in people so depending on it, and all this illusion of the economy and trying to maintain it, trying to almost value money more than human life. They see people just as like businesses see people like human resources. They're no longer the source of the value that they are supposed to be, which is the Manna that forms and creates all these agreements into existence. But they are valued as just needs and wants. They just needed, and they when they are not needed, they can be terminated or they are dispensed. They easily can just let go, and they have no value at all. So this is going to change within a few days that we are here in Fiji, and not only in Fiji but the rest of the world. And this right now we are having because of what the trust has done, what the trust has done in the past 12 years, cutting out all the money, the government in Fiji and also not just Fiji, all around the world are having the liquidity crisis of there's no more currency or the flow of current in the sea. There's no more that's coming to the government to be able to run the government, pay for the civil servants, and they owe a lot of money to the expense of the expenses of running the government within this last 4 to 5 months. And so that's it's just symbolic to what's going to be happening to the illusions of the whole entire planet, and to the waking up. And like I've been talking, as TANK, I've been talking to more people, thousands of people, and all in our island, all around the island, 885,000 people that are here. So many people, so many of them are awake and are ready for these new change. And as it has to come together, and the role of what the trust or what the trust represents to this change is very significant, because it represents the physical aspect of sovereignty. It is the creative and the love and the creative part of the energy. It is money, and it is gold, silver, whatever has value that the humanity has valued in these past thousands of years. And this has to be aligned with the spiritual aspect, or the spiritual awareness of who people or who they are, and what they to remember that they are the one that's creating the illusion. They are the one that is the source of that magic, that Manna that comes from within them, and that they are the most powerful thing. They are special, and right now that's the lesson that my country is actually learning, and it's the same lesson that everyone on the planet is actually learning. There's some a little ahead, and some a little behind, but the learning to love, learning to express the love with each other, and learning to grow together and understand each other, and raise the awareness, and at the same time raise the connection between us and the planet. And at the same time, the planet is doing its it's just waiting. As soon as we change, the planet changes. Yeah, and so currently right now in Fiji, we're having a march today. They are the British, our British Foreign Legion, the local, the people, like our Fijian citizens that goes to England, and they join the British Army, they join the Secret Service there, and they are here in Fiji celebrating their anniversary. So they're doing it today. So it's very significant to to the connection that we have with the Queen and with the sovereignty in the past. And this thing is not new. There's a lot of legend in every country in the world that represented the changes that's happening right now in the world. And Fiji, with just a very small country, very small island, group of islands, but we have a very significant role to this example, to this change of how love has to be expressed and how sovereignty can be remembered. We have the Indo-Fijians that are also living here with us in Fiji, that come from India to come, and they come about more than 100 years ago. They come to work in the farm to try and to get money. They had an agreement with the people that were the sugarcane farmers in those times. The lesson that they come and learn, that we learn from them about money and about I told Dan and you in the beginning of our shows that like the native tribe, we don't really value gold, silver, money in that manner. If you come to Fiji, you won't see businesses run by the native Fijians. You'll see the Indo-Fijians controlling the economy and running the economy. Whether it's sugar industry, we'll just be living in our. We value people. We value our relatives. If we have a business, if a relative comes in, we just give it for free, and we'll take the loss, and eventually the business won't run that successfully because of the way we see things or the way we value or the illusions that we value more. And so it's quite hard for the native people to run businesses because of no matter, even if they go and study to the highest level of studies, and they can become an economist. But when they're back in the village, it's back to the value is the more realistic value that we value, which is the people. We value that more than even trying to create an agreement like have a business or create an agreement of running a big organization. So the lessons that we've been learning there as a country, as an individual, as a tribe, it's just a lesson that we are trying to we are gonna which will enable us to understand how to change the planet as it comes, because we've been we have been a Christian country for almost the same time as economical country, but all these are just illusion to us as Fijians. The only thing that's truly real is our relationship between our family, and the relationship between us and the plants and the animal. We call that relationship Manna. And it's time we are ready to return that Manna back to our awareness, and Manna back to the land, and we'll be able to live in harmony with the fish, with the plants, with the animals, and no longer see them as a source of income or source of money, and we sell our brothers in that manner. And we are ready for that. And I know the planet is also, which is also deeply lost in the same set of illusion. And if we can do that now in Fiji and begin to shine that light all around the Pacific and all around the world, that will be our role. We will do that. And like I said in integration project, we will be doing that physically. That means we'll be traveling from island to island, from tribes to tribes. We'll be reaching out to all the native tribes in Russia, in Asia. We'll be talking to them about it, and we will do this because the agreement has begun. The old treaty has been gone, and now the sovereignty has to be returned to every single person on the planet. So if we can accelerate it in a very physical way, we will do that. We won't broadcast it as through television. We will walk, and we will. I know as we move around, we'll be joined by the media and all that, because it will be part of this big change. And together, as it grows, there'll be more awareness and more reminder, and whatever we're going to face in the future from doing that, we are ready to actually take it up and learn from it. And hopefully that we will all, everyone on the planet will be able to learn from each other and grow and stand up for our own sovereignty. Yeah, and so, we have our economic crisis, people going on strike, and, they've been threatened, they've been called fake news because the government tries to shut it down or try to keep it low. They don't want outside people. And I've been waiting for the people to stand up for their right. And if they can do that, they stand up and become sovereign. No matter how much they are threatened and no matter how much they can do that, it will be, there's some of them are doing it, and eventually, once they get truly fed up, they will be able to stand for their own right, and then they will be able to fight. They'll be able to change the way they are ruled, and that's it's happening here in Fiji. So basically, it's a reflection of what is happening on the planet, and to be here, discussing about it, I'm very thankful. Thanks that able to share it with people around the world and people listening in the future, and just be a reminder of that great change of what it means to be sovereign, and I'm very thankful for it.
Well, Tui, I'm very thankful for your whole testimony on everything that you're doing, and your attitude and humility, your confidence and genuine, kind-hearted nature is it's an example for everybody, and I certainly appreciate that. And and I got to be honest, it's comforting because for a long time there, I was watching this the narrative that was created with the global currency reset and how they were trying to shame the American people and the rest of the world, that we were such greedy, fat Americans and we were no good, and they were trying to, glorify the benevolent Chinese elders, and there was many things that would happen along the way, in the way that they used different agents to become these informant gurus, right, that were giving inside information to soccer moms and stuff. They would describe this culture that was very suppressive. It was very oppressive, right? It was creating this world where we would have to subject ourselves to the will of these other characters, even though on one hand they would claim, oh, you're going to have unlimited money, and in the next breath they would basically just try to enslave us all over again. And that really was the agenda. And I've got to be honest, it blew my mind when I realized, wow, because I had felt that way for a long time, that's what they were doing. They were just trying to replace one order of evil, or anti-human order, and replace it. So I think it's really incredible when you think about it that there's a true agreement with the original 5 tribes or 12 tribes, or is it 7 tribes? Actually, Tui, correct me on that. The original agreement is with the original 5 tribes, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah, the 5 tribes, I call them the 5 expressions, but simply the reminder, if you look at yourself, if you look at your fingers, you have 5 fingers, and that's part of the original agreement. It's in the DNA. It's not written down on any book or any, it's written in the soul, which is part of your experience. So that means it's in your DNA. The DNA is just simply it's almost like a blueprint of not just your identity, but also your expression from your birth till death agreement, and it is commanded by what you would call the soul. But in essence, they don't have names. They don't have words that describe that. But people, if you look within yourself, if you have a chance to sit and be able to communicate with your own self, you'll be able to see all these different versions of yourself, and you'll be able to feel the connection that or what they represent through you, and that's what what the Ra Confederacy represents through the 5 tribes. It's just a reminder of the essence of the Manna, that we are sons and daughters of the living creative force, and just be able to remember it. It's almost like it's like a trigger within your DNA, that when this time comes, the planet will do this, and your DNA will actually just do that, and you will experience that remembrance, and your body will meet people and will learn things, and that's what the soul agreement is. And if you're doing it, if you're fulfilling a soul agreement, you'll feel that joy and feel that that you're actually at the right time, at the right moment, and you're doing the right thing, exactly what you truly are here to do. And that's what what we're doing right now, talking and speaking on the show. And we're doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Maybe in a different, probably using different gadgets and all that, but it's the same thing that we're doing right now, trying to remember who we are by talking about it. Because, like I said, these things cannot be put into words. Words are not even enough. If you talk about millions and talk about millions, or if we use millions and millions of words, it won't even express sovereignty or that you resemble, because you create the whole entire universe, and that cannot be put into words. It's just words are just that just represent that in a very, very minute way, where the understanding of the awareness or the perception can be satisfied, because that's what people need for understanding. They just need the perception to be satisfied. So words just do that in a way that because of separation, you're all using words. In the future, people won't be using that anymore. To be able to look within and just be who you are, and that's God, quite in your mind and quite in you are right there. So until then, until the changes that is happening on the planet, we and people here in Fiji are very, very thankful for what's happening. The connection that the Manna World Holding Trust has done with us here and with the people like you guys, with you, TANK. We're very fortunate to be part of it and be working with you guys now. And everyone is waiting. We are looking forward to that project being started. Everyone on the planet. And our project will start from here, and we will do that, what we're supposed to be doing. And that is to, like the project that, we're going to start, that we're going to be doing, is we're going to begin first in our land, where we will try and wake everyone in Fiji up in a very, very accelerated manner within a few months. And we'll wake them up from their deep dream of illusions of doctrinations and the governments and all this, that bring us to the subject of the law of the sea, which is the illusion that has been binding people into slavery for a very long time, and we will wake people up from them. And the good thing about it is people in Fiji, we're just being in this illusion for just it's a very short period of time, less than 150 years. There are other nations around the planet that have been in the law of the sea for thousands of years. They've been trading, they've been enslaved, they had that created in deeply. They've been governed in that way. They've been doing commerce economically in the law of the sea, and in that manner, admiralty law. In Fiji, we weren't exposed to that until just less than 150 years ago, and that includes the Bible, the church, the religious groups, whatever religious faction that would come in, and even the Hindu and even the Muslim religion. We weren't exposed to that for thousands of years until 150 years ago. So it's so easy for us to realize all this illusion, and it's so easy for us to reveal it. And we understand that our ancestors allowed us to go through the lesson. And they, I just want to share that part, which is very important, that a lot of people may not understand this, even in Fiji. They don't understand what the law of the land and what it represents to the rest of the world. It represents that it says that Fiji is still sovereign, especially the people of the land, because we are binded to our land in that manner. Every child or every native child that is registered or her name or his name is put down under the book of life that we have, is binded to has connection to the land, has no separation in illusion from the land, and so it makes them sovereign. So that's one of the problems that the government here in Fiji are facing. They can't fully utilize the land because it doesn't belong to the government. The native people owns 95% of the land in Fiji, and so only 5% has been utilized by planting sugarcane and planting all this and trying to run the economy on. So they've been trying for this past they've been trying to utilize this land for this past 40 to 50 years, and there's just all we have is schools just to try and to stop it and keep stopping them. And then even now we still own 95% of the land that is on in Fiji. It just simply means that out of all the land, all the countries in the world, the native people or the native tribes in Fiji are still sovereign, and that's the wisdom of our ancestors of the Ra Confederacy. They know that the world will be run in an illusion of the law of the sea, and they bring up a way to bind us to our land and keep us connected to the planet, so that when time comes, we will be able to be an example to what sovereignty means to everyone on the planet. And so that's what is truly part of our role here in Fiji, to be able to show the people of the planet that everyone is naturally, through the Fijian people, everyone is naturally on the planet, is naturally sovereign. It's not a total, it's not everyone on the planet that's been taken out and been put into the agreement of the law of the sea. And there's just one small island in the Pacific still binded and still connected to the land. And through them, we will create, we will get everyone that awareness, and then everyone will remember that they are not separated from the land, they're not separated from the air, they're not separated from the sea, from the water, that they are the planet. And it's a lot of people might not understand this yet, but that's very, very cool. And we can't wait to start and to be able to begin our project, because it is a very deep, powerful message about sovereignty that we would like to share with everyone. And by sharing it with everyone, they will remember the same thing, and they will take out all the illusions of the law of the sea, the judiciary, and all these systems that has been, enslaving them, and they will be able to see how to actually do it. There's so many people that are awakened around the world, and they're trying to get themselves to be sovereign, in a very legal way. But they don't understand that even that, being, I actually talk about it with some of, with Kevin in the US. They call themselves, these people, they call themselves sovereign citizen. And citizen simply means, it's you are a slave. And then sovereignty, you are a sovereign slave. And we will change that. We will take away all the illusions that's been causing them. Because it's just all a state of mind, the illusion of the law of the sea. And it's just been binding so hard because they've used languages, they put it down into words. But all this illusion will be weighted away once we started talking about the true sovereignty, or the true essence of the living creator that's within every living human, or I call them Turanga Marama. That's everyone is sons and daughters of the living creator. And so the message that our project will actually be doing is going to be very, very powerful, because it will not just wake up in a sense where realizing that they're waking up from a dream, but being able to see that they weren't even asleep. They've just been pretending. It's just now they're just waking up to realize that they are part of their essence. Because we're using words, it's supposed to be you are God. That's what it's supposed to mean in a Fijian language. Turanga Marama. You're not, but you are. That's why you are alive. That's why you are who you are, and that's why you have that awareness. You can't be separated from it. Or if you're separated, you won't be here. So yeah, the 5 agreement and all that is part of it. All these awareness will come back. Will be coming back to the mind of the people. And the Rasau, that's who I represent, the Sau. In English, Sau simply means high priest, king. That's what it means in English. In the Hebrew language, they call them the Melchizedek, which is what we call ourselves the firstborn.
Yeah, they have no beginning and no end.
Yes, that's what our tribes here in the Pacific in Fiji represent. And I know being able to share that, because these are some deep awareness that I don't normally share to people because they will never understand it. But this is part of our agreement as me, as my DNA, as part of what the firstborn is, or the Melchizedek. There has been a lot of people claiming to be Melchizedek, or a lot of tribes claiming to be that. But in Fiji, we are chosen by the essence or the fifth element, which is the planet itself. And that's why the time begins in this land. And simply means that everyone in Fiji that is born is the first child to be born on the planet. And this makes us the and the Rasau, that simply means what the Rasau is. So for my Monarch title, it's called Sau ke Mualevu. Sau ke Mualevu. Mua is the capital of there's an old landmass that was here long ago. It's called Mu, and the capital of Mu is called Mua, and my village is called Mua. And
is that Mu like Lemuria, like that?
Yes.
Okay.
And the title is called a High Priest of Mu.
Now, you're saying, now, is that the Melchizedek priesthood? That's the same, more than the same, or it's just a likeness of that?
That's awesome. It's part of a lot of people. This will make a lot of sense when the people come to see. They will fully understand. That's why it's part of this agreement. It's part of this project. I'll try and invite everyone because I want them to see because it cannot be spoken.
Right. It has to be felt.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So the Sau ke Mualevu, if you see the Monarch title there, Sau ke Mualevu simply means the. I'm sorry. It's because this is a deep knowledge. It's part of the DNA agreement that has been lost for thousands of years. And to be able to, it's not just this physical level, but also it's multi-level because and if you would understand about the Buddha or the origin or I call them the Elohim and the Seraphim. They were the one that were lost, and now they are coming back. And
really?
Me, yes. And through me and talking about this, I'm sorry, it's just overwhelming me trying to explain it because this is a very deep healing that
Yes, okay, man. Take your time.
It's good. I'm happy that we're actually talking about it. So, it's not just a physical level healing that has to be done. the spiritual level of healing that has been lost for billions of years, not in a linear sense, but in a dimensional sense. A lot of part of the Ra Confederacy were lost because of this. And now, just being able to be talking about it, I'm very happy about it.
So, Tui, this is something that's gone through time and space, forward in time and back into history. And it's been lost in this battle, and this is the time when it's restored and recovered, right?
Yes. That's why I spoke, I spoke with a little bit of authority towards Anu, because when you were asked to come and help the planet, we had to do a lot of sacrifice. We have to create a lot of
Tui, I lose you, man. Well,
yeah. Sorry, it looks like he's been dropped. I think we'll see if he calls back in.
Well, I'll tell you that's a lot what he just shared. Those final statements, I've never seen him get that verklempt about it. I've never seen him emotional like that about it. And for those of you who have been following us and understand the gravity of what's actually taking place, you are looking at the physical manifestation of a very, very old energetic and spiritual agreement. When Tui talks about the Ra Confederacy and the Zara Confederacy and the Zara El, and he's talking about bringing together these spiritual entities that are, divine in nature, so to speak, and reuniting this energy to remember who we all are, and really claiming our authority and responsibility to care for one another, to care for the planet. And I really appreciate him coming on and being so open and honest. And these conversations, he was suppressed for many years, not allowed to speak, knowing exactly who he was and what he'd have to do. So when he was 33, when he turned 33, he was finally able to speak up. So you can imagine having a lifetime knowing what you'd have to do. Finally have the opportunity to speak up for yourself and for humanity and for the opportunity to liberate the entire world is a absolutely profound experience. And one of the hardest things to do in that situation, at least in my microcosm type experience, is when you realize that you care more about people than they care about themselves. When you see the damage they're doing to themselves and the world that we have created and know just how completely illusionary it is, and how we've all bought into things that are just absolutely untrue. And to undo that damage and to repair and to recover and to regenerate is the opportunity that we're faced with in this moment. And TUI has a responsibility to reach out to the other tribes and connect with them around the world. They know who they are. And in my opinion, if it hasn't happened already, which it hasn't, I don't think all of them have reached out to TUI yet. I know that I've spoken to the group in Australia, which I think is the Aborigines, and there's other groups. I believe there's one up in Canada, and I'm not sure they're scattered about, but I know there's one in Japan. But I think it's very powerful. And now is the time to come together under the reality and the acceptance and embrace that we are human. And the things that we have in common are much more magnificent, are much more binding than the tiny things that we fight about that make us different. You know, it's a miraculous thing that you hardly ever see anybody that looks just like you. Everybody, for the most part, has two eyes, a nose, a mouth, two ears, and our face is our most recognizable feature of our body. And you could just see millions of people on television every place you go, and you will never see anybody almost that looks just like you unless you have an identical twin somewhere. Now imagine the subtle details and differences of all these people, of this incredible divine creative energy that we all possess. It speaks to the fact that we are all so similar, and it is our differences. It is the different path we chose, the differences of our free will, of our choices that we have made, that make this world so dynamic, so incredible, and so amazing. Now, it has all the ability to be that and more. But we are the ones that have to make it be that. And I just want to make sure to let them say goodbye. Now, Tui, you want to say goodbye, man? We're about to lock this show up.
Yes. The first, I just want to thank you, Tank. Thank you, the team again. Thank you for the chance to be able to discuss certain things about the project and certain things about the future. Thank you so much, for the time, for your love, for the kindness that you've. I know you guys have made a lot of sacrifices for what you guys are doing, whether it's time, the resources, money. And thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that is listening in. Thank you to everyone listening in live now and also later on in the future. Thank you so much for being with us and being part of this change. And I look forward, to actually meeting you, meeting everyone, and meeting the team. As part, Tank, you understand the project that we've actually given you. That one big part of it is the physical connection or reconnection or meeting the family and learning and talking and expressing love to each other physically in real time. So, with those words, I just want to share and express the love and blessings from Fiji, wherever you are in the world. We are, we understand the change that is happening right now, that you are also part of it. And we look forward to the day that we all unite and we all will do this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Tui. So, as you know, folks, we are in the final stages, and I look at everything the way I was going to do it myself. That last scene in the movie, when you know the bad guy is down and you're hoping that they finish him off, that is where we're at. It is time for us to stand up for who we are and be the best version of ourselves. And in that, being our most exceptional self,